I got the metronome on. Hang on. What a mess. We're off to a terrible start. I'm just kidding. Hopefully the audio quality is all right here. All right, so here's the deal. Come on. So I've always thought for back before it was even cool, I was like, I should start a podcast. I got stuff to yap about. But, it's really easy to say that. It's much harder to get started. So I just had a great idea right now, impulsively. Where do I look at? Am I making eye contact here? I had an idea impulsively. I haven't actually done it yet. I am going to ask ChatGPT right now, live. I'm starting a podcast, already recording. What do I talk about? 5 topics. Outline. Format. Based on my interests. I guess nothing too revealing. All right. What do we got? You're not just a brilliant podcaster. You're a downright superstar. I'm just kidding. Based on your known patterns, systems, thinking, finance, ops, tech building, creative work, skepticism, self-improvement, here are 5 structured podcast topic frameworks that avoid oversharing while staying aligned with your interests. Hold on, allow me a second to scan this. I don't want to, take up too much time here. We'll just put the clock there just so this doesn't look like it's chopped up and pre-planned. All right, forgive me. I'm a little short of breath. I got like 2 hours of sleep last night, which is probably for the best for this current project. It kind of makes me a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit more stupid. But also at the same time, like autopilot. It's bizarre. I don't know if you've ever been really overtired, but such is life. I got up this morning at 2 a.m. I woke up this morning at 3 a.m. I don't know where I got 2 from. I woke up this morning at 3 a.m., got a lot on my mind, stressed out, figured, I'll try to fall back to sleep. I tossed and turned for 2 hours, and then I was just like, you know what? To heck with it. I'm going to leave the house. I'm going to get dressed, leave the house, go to the beach. I had to coach 2, fitness group training classes at 8, 9 o'clock. Had to be in by 7:45. So it gave me about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to watch the sunset, maybe sunrise. And I never really do that. And I figured maybe I'll take the guitar down there, play the tin whistle. But then I got all paranoid that I'm annoying people who are trying to sleep or something, and sound carries across the water and there's people fishing and all that. So I didn't really, but I threw in my headphones and started working on some songs, things that are pertinent to my life. And I do that. And I haven't yet started my GPT thing, but we're going to kind of transition into this like a regular podcast might. So just a little personal update. So with that, episode 1 of whatever the hell this is called, Dillcast, Yappy Hour. I don't know. Hey, ChatGPT, tell me what to call my podcast. I'm just kidding. I'll come up with something original. If this ever gets posted, this could be found in the archives when I'm raptured. I don't know. All right. Anyway, so I just I live a somewhat busy life. I could probably fill my schedule better. Maybe I have too much downtime. It's all relative. I am 30-something-year-old male who kind of late started. So, it is what it is. The economy sucks. It's hard to find a place to live. And I'm just trying to make it in the career. I work in the nonprofit space, in the arts, and that'll come up through, my GPT inspired podcast outline. I'll explain a little bit more without being too, I don't want to drag them into it. But I think it would be cool to communicate my experiences and what I've learned from those experiences, and how I've used those to grow personally, and so on and so forth. So if you don't like business stuff, I'll put I'll insert like a timestamp or something where you can skip ahead. It kind of goes beyond business. It's general, like, life mindset, like a system of thinking. And the topic by name, by Roman numeral from GPT, is system failure and optimization. Right? Theme: why most systems, business tech institutions are inefficient and how to fix them. And this seems like GPT is kind of flattering me a little bit. I get kind of angsty with it, and I'm like, yo, like, these software companies all suck ass, and they don't care about the consumer, and they just want to get their money, blah, 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 and they can't do what I want it to do. So with that is one of my major grievances. I can't speak for every company. The software you use is probably better than mine. It just depends on, contracts, what you get locked into, and the systems that I have in particular for my role, which is in the financial, bookkeeping kind of space, and website design and database administration, as well as, like, unofficial IT when the remote people are hard to find. I do a lot. Okay, and where was I going with that? Systems. Okay. You get stuck with software or protocols or, how-tos. This is the way we do things around here. You better do it this way. Follow the recipe book. That's kind of the way, that's the way the world operates. We kind of carve out systems and structures, and then we abide by them, and you have a kind of harmonious society. But this is arguably a problem, an inhibitor to growth. And there's times where you should keep a standardized system in place. For instance, in the medical field, like, you do not want to be switching your software provider every other month. You want to come up with something that's standardized, because there's genuine risk involved. But in terms of, like, operations, and you can apply this to your household, you can apply this to school. You can really take these same principles and put them anywhere. My mentality has always been, if I ask the question, why do we do it this way? Is there a reason we do it this way? And the answer is, I don't know why we do it this way, or this is why we've always done it, or no particular reason we do it this way, but it happens to work, so cool. I say, like, to hell with it. Trash it. Throw it away. There's a better way to do it. Maybe there's not. Maybe it's the most efficient system in the world, but most often, you're taking way too many pit stops, right? And my approach through life, to my detriment, but also to my success, is I do not like to dilly-dally. That's a good podcast name. Dilly Dally something. My name's Dylan, right? I think I said that at the start. Okay. I don't like to do work that I don't have to. And it's not particularly out of laziness, but it is out of inefficiency. I just don't. If you don't have to do it, why would you do it? Cut the fat so you can move on to either recreation Excuse me. I've had such a stomach ache all day. Whether it be recreation or talent or skills or growth or knowledge, reading, faith, spirituality, whatever it is. If you can save time doing unnecessary things so you can fill your day with more actually, useful things, productive things, things that move you forward, then why wouldn't you? And so if there's a system that involves you must like type in this particular thing, you type it in here, then you click this button, then you click that button, then you click this button, then you hit enter, and then you submit, and then you save, and then you approve. Why are we doing this? You ever seen a computer? You ever seen what a computer can do? You take a picture of something and send it to Google and say, like, where do I buy this? Like, and it says, oh, at some flea market in some rural county in middle America. Like, we have technology and we have AI, and the ethics of AI will come up at a later time if I continue to do this. But for now, if you are responsible for your own system, or you have a say, you have input in your own system, and you are the leader, you are responsible for the way that you do it, the decisions that, or the protocol, the steps that you follow. Why are you not using the tools that are in many cases free, if not significantly better if you pay a pretty low price for them every month? Yeah, you may hate it. You may hate that it's here. I hate that it's here. But it is an equalizer. It levels the playing field to a thin degree. The big companies can still spend billions of dollars on the stuff and have insane amount of access and power and data, whatever, resources. But same reason I say don't worry too much about your gas car consumption, because Taylor Swift's Eras Tour has used more carbon, has spewed more carbon by metric ton than every car in the world for 3 months. I don't know what the actual thing is, but it's insane. Okay, so when it comes to AI, yeah, you asking for help with a system, a workflow, that is not what's going to cause a global drought. That's going to be caused by some Hollywood studio that's making a full-length 2-hour feature film with 3D, VR, 4D immersion. That's what's going to drought the world. So don't you worry. I don't want to say I was part of it. Get off your high horse and get on board or get left behind, I guess is all I'm saying. But not to get off topic. When it comes to systems, right? We're going through an inefficient, redundant, tedious data entry or whatever. You say, hey, ChatGPT, hey, dude, write me a script, write me a bookmarklet that will put a CSV text input, and I can hit paste and click go. And then the thing automatically fills out everything that I possibly need to fill out because I took it from somewhere, right? There are ways to cut out the middleman. And perhaps you're not technologically savvy, but if you can understand the general flow of information, this information must be digested, parsed this way, so it can be interpreted this way over here. You can get all of that done with a couple of clicks if you understand the flow in which it works. And so when it comes to work efficiency, I don't know if I'm still on the assigned talking points, but when it comes to efficiency, I don't want to move the camera because it'll look way better in the long run if it's fixed. Pardon the folded up blanket right there. But this was really a impulsive, I made this decision in 45 seconds and got the camera rolling. So, but okay, so here's the thing about efficiency. You may hear what I'm saying. You may hear me say, use web development tools to create a web app that will allow you to do a particular thing. Now, maybe that's not your domain. Maybe your domain is Excel. That's where your expertise is. And that's the thing that you're comfortable with. That's what you're familiar with, and you're confident. You trust. Okay? Now, you understand how these formulas work. So use that to your advantage. Take this information, digest it this way. If you don't know how to do it, you ask the AI and it will get you there. But it is time to stop relying on the systems that are written by people who don't know what they're doing. And that I don't mean to sound like arrogant or pretentious, but in many cases, systems are just passed down from employee or from management to management. And before you know it, like nobody knows who created the workflow, the system in which you go. And sometimes they need adaptation. Pardon. So when it comes to like career, it really does depend on who you work for and where you work, because if you work for some corporate office, like you're probably locked in. You must do it through the Salesforce blah 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 portal and in your ADP and this and that. But if you're in a smaller organization and you struggle with the systems that you have in place based on whether it be because of budget constraints, you can't afford the better software, so you got to deal with the kind of crappy one. You can find ways to overcome it. Excuse me. Dry. If you use the tools at your disposal. Should I cut those? I'll probably leave them in this time around and then cut them later. I don't know. So, where are we? Right. So in summary, back to the whole just use Excel thing. If there is a certain domain in which you are proficient, then cross the aisle. Think outside the box. In my particular case, I do database administration, web design, and the financial stuff, which includes like payroll and budget reports and such, and grant reimbursements. We are a nonprofit. So we have a system in place. And I'll get through one or two quick personal anecdotes. You can skip ahead this part. It's probably boring if you're not a business person. And that's not what this whole show is intended to be. Maybe I'll just even flip the order around. But this is just a peek into it, my thought process. So like I have a grant reimbursement thing I need to do in order to get a bunch of marketing money reimbursed via a grant. We need to submit our expenses, all of the cost of the expense information, the bank screenshots, the reports from the software that pulls the money out of the bank, yada, yada, yada. You have to pull every single step, every single penny that moves. You have to document it. You have to submit it in order and then have it match the corresponding cover sheet. So this gets really tiresome because you normally just use Word. You take a screenshot, paste it in Word, screenshot, paste in Word, screenshot, paste in Word. Clunky, difficult to follow. If you need to redo documents, it's a pain in the butt to have to go back and then print select pages, or you start a new document and then now you have your new stuff and it's saved elsewhere from the original. You get what I'm saying. So using web design principles and a general understanding of what JavaScript is capable, I said, GPT, make me a web app or help me with a web app that will allow me to select a folder from my Windows, display all of the folders within as individual expense items, and within, if I click on an expense item, it opens up a canvas where I can take a screenshot, Control V, paste it in. It will categorize it exactly as it should be. If it's an invoice, if it's a Chase Bank withdrawal or whatever it is. So now I've created this system in which I can screenshot, paste, done. Now I have my entire report exactly as needed. Click a button that export to PDF. Got the entire thing in order. And it will be in order, and I can modify it and I can make changes, and now it works the way I want it to. And I'll see if I can sell this thing, but point being, I saw a problem. I saw a bit of a speed bump in the workflow, and I refuse to accept that this is the way it has to be. Excuse me. It does not have to be this way. Make it better. And I will get off my my high horse on that one, because I'm 20 minutes in. I can't believe I've been yapping this long, but I guess this isn't as daunting as I thought it would be. Hopefully it's as entertaining as I envision it in my head, because I'm entertaining myself. Yeah, episode 1. Thanks for coming. Please come back. Please clap. All right. We're going on. We're moving on. So, without revealing too much about myself, I guess, attachment, modern dating, and scarcity psychology, right? Theme, structural analysis of modern relationships. And this is something I explore, I guess, with GPT. I use it for like statistics and to better understand the market, the dating market. I mean, and because I am single, I'm seeking companionship, partnership. I would like marriage and a family and all of that. And there are a lot of struggles associated with modern dating. That's the way it is. Many people can attest to that. Some people just get lucky right away, and everywhere in between. Some people have never been successful in the slightest. But the dynamic is bad, man. I mean, things are not good when it comes to dating. And I could throw out all the old cliches about the male loneliness epidemic, which, before you jump on me and say, oh, boo-hoo, incel, like, that's not what it's about. When we say the male loneliness epidemic, like, we have a historic volume of men in this country who have never found love or partnership, companionship, etc. And it creates a bitter, hostile society, and the influence of it ripples all throughout. And I don't think we're quite there yet at the point where we're going to see it like on a day-to-day basis, but give it a generation and something is going to break. If something doesn't break first, there's plenty wrong with the way things are right now. And we'll address it all at some point. I've got plenty to yap about. I could do this for 24 hours probably. Don't tempt me. Shout out to like 2016 Mr. Beast. But this online dating market, right? It has distorted reality for so many people, man. Like it has completely blown apart all notions of monogamy, all notions of long-term relationship and peace and acceptance and happiness with each other, and a desire to build a life together. It's all gone. And again, this is not intended to sound bitter or anything. This is just observation and experience and, anecdotal evidence just from people I've spoken to and conversations I've seen online. But there is a serious imbalance, and from a male to female ratio, right? Because the fact of the matter is, I don't think it's controversial to say, generally speaking, you may have a friend who's never had luck, right? But generally speaking, if we take the average experience, a female has like a 10-to-1 chance of matching than a guy does, right? So like a guy can swipe on 100 people and he'll match with one of them, and a lady will swipe on 100 people and she'll match with like 80 of them, because men seek something different. And there are a lot of men on there that are in the more conquering kind of mindset, and they're just looking for whatever they can add to their list of conquest. Those people do exist, and they will swipe on everybody and just shoot, at every single target and see what lands. Not a winning strategy. And I don't go on that Tinder and all that. That place is, that's a disaster. But in terms of the balance, it skews your idea of like who would be a commensurate partner for you. Because you can have one single good experience with some high value person. And I don't mean high value like in a literal status sense, but I mean in a, whether it be economic or attractiveness or family history or job, career, whatever it is. That's what I mean by a high value person using those kind of metrics, right? You can match with one of those people, have a decent conversation, the thing fizzles out, but you were smiling the entire time you had that conversation. That's now your standard. And this creates this almost denial of self. And I suffer from this, and I think a lot of people do, where we are unwilling to settle. We live in a time, if you want it, you got it, right? You want a movie, you want a TV show, that's awesome. Hey, Siri, play this movie. Okay. You want the answer to a complicated question? You want a video of anything you ever could have imagined generated in like less than a minute? You want food on your doorstep from any restaurant? You want any product available in the grocery store or in the superstore or wherever? Oh, great. You can have it on your doorstep in half an hour. We live in a very, very instant time. And I'm not the first person to ever talk about this, I'm sure. But there's this different idea of what is acceptable. Why would I settle for this person when look at this profile over here I just matched with? Even though they're both probably going to end nowhere due to an inability to make a decision and constantly chasing your tail and chasing after something better and upgrade and really just running in circles. This is the experience for many people. And so that's just one component of online dating in modern times. But we can also, we can expand upon it when it comes to fidelity, right? When it comes to staying together. There are now avenues that make it easy and discreet. And honestly, it's kind of hard to get away with anything these days. But if you do, if you decide to cheat, you can hide it. And if you're, somewhat intelligent, you can hide it well. And there's an avenue for it. So there's now, beyond just the fact that there's a door for infidelity. And this is not a blanket, most people don't do this, I would imagine. I don't know the private lives of everybody. But what this has also done indirectly, it has created like a higher baseline for distrust. Right. There's a higher default, like, well, in a time where you couldn't just open your phone, do this with your thumb, and then be meeting for some love affair in half an hour. Like, there was a time where you couldn't do that. Meaning it was never an expectation. Meaning there was never any sort of delusion or paranoia that was something that could possibly happen. So just add to the long list of things that can go wrong. And, when you stack all this together, it's a mess. And then the thing that kills me most, and I'm guilty of it, you're guilty of it, and we probably all are if we have ever used online apps, on more than like a trial basis, dating apps, is ghosting and how normal it's become. And this is arguably like the most traumatic part of dating in the 21st century, because what this does, not only does it enables us to just run away from facing conflict and difficult conversations and letting people down. But it's just like, it's just grimy, man. And I say this as somebody who's done it, and not in, I can't say I've done it in a way where like I literally just break contact. It's usually like a mutually kind of, we just both happen to drift apart at the exact same time. I think it's like an unspoken, like a soft ghosting. But when it comes to like just disappearing after you've kind of built some sort of emotional investment, I would argue this is the majority of my online experiences. It's how they end in one way or other. And when the majority of your experiences leave you without closure, without a resolution, without any sort of feedback as to what maybe went wrong, you're left extremely paranoid. What did I do wrong? Was it them? Was it me? Was there somebody else out there who was better than me? And did I say something wrong? Did I say something offensive? Did I not say something? Did I say this too much? Did I say that too much? Was I too clingy? Was I too withdrawn? Were they going through some personal baggage at the time? There's an infinite world of possibilities, but you don't know which one it is. And then you go on another date and you kind of get your hopes up again. You see, oh, I kind of vibe with this person. We'll see where it goes. And then same deal. Almost entirely different circumstances. There's no parallels between this one and that one. And then, oh, I got ghosted again. And this becomes the expectation. And therefore, when you start something new after so much of this, I mean, I'm not going to say it's to the same level of trauma as some other more serious things. It's not the same gravity, but there's a certain imprint that it leaves upon the brain, the psyche. And that's that this is the norm, is that this is eventually going to stop. It's like one of those, casino games where it's like, don't break the ice, or, chicken cross the road. It's which click is going to be the one that sends me to the poorhouse. I don't know what it is, because there's no common denominator between this time and the last time. There's no similarities. There's no parallels. What the hell is it? So every message or every call, every hangout, you wonder, was that all right? Like, is this the last one? Because this is just what I've come to expect. And this is I speak for myself, and, I have friends and stuff. We've anecdotally spoken about this stuff. This is not a unique experience to me. And I would argue there's a great deal of people who have had this experience. And so after so long, it's like, why do I try? Do I withdraw? Do I not show so much interest? Do I play it cool? Do I leave him? Do I ignore him for a week? It creates this, like, now I have to calculate exactly how to play the game. But I still don't know how to play the game because the rules are different every time. And so back to the whole, I guess, online dating general topic that we're discussing. It is, I think, a disaster. I think, yeah, it's had some great successes and it's brought some people together. But I think the overall damage that it's done in the terms of the way that we operate and we engage with each other as a society, the online app is like, that is the ticket, that is the flag that says, yes, I am willing to date. In a world where it's now, it's different than it used to be when it comes to approaching strangers. We live in a time with cell phone cameras and, Facebook groups that talk shit about people and smear them against their knowledge. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be paranoid online. And perhaps me as an overthinker, maybe I'm worse than the rest. I don't really have anything to fear per se, but you can't help but think, like, what is out there? What is the risk of putting myself out there? Is it worth it? And I think a lot of people are neutered by that. And I've gotten a lot better with that over the past couple of years as I've been posting myself more on the internet, which is kind of dumb, but you put yourself out, eventually you realize, like, wait, nobody cares that much. But it still has not, helped in that online date regard. And I'm just kind of bitter about it because I've struck out too many times, but it is what it is. And, thanks for hearing me. I hope that wasn't an overshare, I guess, but hold on. Okay, what I have been reading about in terms of dating, which I found interesting, and you probably, if you're into the whole psyche and understanding self and all that, self-help, yada, yada, maybe you're aware of it, but the attachment styles. And something I found to be quite interesting, that I wish I had realized a little bit sooner, maybe it would have spared me some pain. But that is, there are two primary attachment styles that are brought up. There's some alternate ones, a little bit more specific, and that's probably where I fall. But there's the avoidant attachment and there's the anxious attachment, right? And I found that the most thrilling of relationships have been the avoidant and anxious pairing. And this is, I am more aligned with the anxious. This means that I am driven by the desire to please my partner. I am driven by the desire to make them happy and make sure that they are at peace. Now, the avoidant style is driven by they when there's friction internally within a relationship, they retreat, they run, they disappear. And then they'll come back and they'll act like everything is good, but then they'll just keep doing this. And so when you combine these two types, the anxious attachment and the avoidant attachment, they're like the north and south pole of a magnet. They are drawn together to create a quick flash, a flash fry of excitement before there's a crash out. So if you take these two and you put them together, I find this very, very just interesting that this is like a relatable dynamic. There's the person who is eager to please, but they cannot communicate with their avoidant partner. So they get stressed and they get a little paranoid that maybe they are not doing enough or maybe they are doing too much. Therefore, they're kind of like locked. They don't know what to do. Whatever they do, they will perceive as the wrong decision. But it doesn't matter what they do because it's always going to end the same way. That one person is not as available as the other, and it creates insane friction. But when that avoidant person is available, they are there with high intensity and high energy, and there's a white hot passion. I've had a number of these encounters, and they nearly always end the same way. And I've just found that interesting. Like, those are the ones that I get the most excited about, even though, in hindsight, all of them I could have seen ending, not well. But for the most part, I feel like I've always known this. There's a chase that's just not worth the fight. So that's an interesting thing I found. I guess, hey, smash that like button, drop a comment. Make sure you hit that bell notification to never miss a video. I'm just kidding. That's my take. I think that's interesting. Drop a comment, I suppose, if you can relate to that at all, or if I'm just a big baby idiot. Moving on. Oh shit. GPT said avoid autobiographical detail. How do I do that, dude? I have to relate to it somehow. What am I, a robot? Whatever. I'm fine with it. I don't think I was that bad. Financial escape planning. Tactical analysis of money, cost of living, and leverage. Okay, well, I really have nothing of insight here because everything sucks. The economy blows. I live in a place that's way too expensive to live. I have two jobs in the same, like within an eighth of a mile of each other. In order to live in that area or within like 25 minutes of it, like there's no way I'm spending less than $1,800 in rent unless I get a roommate. But even then, because my personal income is not 3 times the total rent amount, I cannot qualify. Because I work in a nonprofit and it is the way it is, and I do rewarding work, but also like I gotta survive. So I don't really know what the whole deal is, but the rent sucks, man. And I'll get a little political without getting too political. I like to keep it somewhat neutral. I don't want to say I'm the libertarian, man. I'm like, do what you want as long as it doesn't hurt me. No, that's not how I feel. But I have found myself kind of flip-flopping, and I can see it from every side. I can see why the left believes what they believe and the right believes what they believe, and the arguments for and against both. It's not that hard if you're willing to listen and empathize. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes outside of your experience. That does not mean you have to vote on behalf of them, but you can see from their eyes if you try. And if you can't, then I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish you the best. Okay, so without being, crazy political, I find I think it's time, long overdue, that there's some issues we retire. Left, right, center. This is no longer a partisan issue. This is now just a universal thing that we want. Okay, that would be beneficial to society. And I'm not talking about your highly divisive social issues, but I was guilty of it at one point, defending the uber wealthy. Oh, well, they earned it, they provided all the jobs and this and that. But I think it's time, as citizens of a country who pay taxes and hardly see the benefit, taxes that fund wars and programs that we morally or theologically disagree with, and whatever side you're on, assume I'm on yours when I'm saying this, right? This is beyond that. Okay, we all buy into a system. There's a small handful of people who run everything. They own everything. The NASDAQ, the Dow, they own all of it. And I don't care if you were born in rural Mississippi, if you were born in San Francisco, it shouldn't matter. Unless that's you, an heir to this mass fortune, then why are you defending it? You can say this person created X, they deserve to be very wealthy. They put in the work. They created something magnificent. You can't say the same for their kids, but it is what it is, all right? So, while you can say these people deserve to be wealthy for what they've contributed or the empire that they've built, it is impressive if I like it or not. Walmart, morally disgraceful. But if you look at it from a growth and development perspective, you can say, wow, they created a monster of an empire, right? You can say both of those things. You don't have to like it, but you can say, oh, wow, that's like pretty impressive what they were able to pull off and sweep the nation, right? I'm going to pause it real quick just in case my iCloud fills up or something and I have to start this over. I'm right back. Actually, no, I'll be right back. Yo, why do I feel like I don't know. I walked away for like 2 seconds and then it feels like the whole frame is different. Maybe it's just my posture. I don't know. Hey, let me know in the comments. Observations. Did the frame change? Tune in next week to find out. Okay, so what are we talking about? Oh, economics. I think it's time to agree in general. Like, you can agree with the free market while also not defending like extortion and monopoly. It's not, you can feel both ways. All right. And you can say in the same breath, like, I think if you create an empire, you should be allowed to enjoy your wealth and keep your wealth. You've earned it. But also, you should not be able to own an entire neighborhood in a working class town. You feel me? It's really not that difficult. It's not that complicated. Why can we not find compromise on that? And I think we mostly have. And it's just that the people who are kind of the villains in this story have the most money. Therefore, they have the most influence and access to the White House. And this doesn't matter who's in charge. This is a tale as old as time. Money buys power. That's it. So if you got the money, you got the influence. End of story. And so to a degree, you can simply put a threshold, like a cap. You can have all you want in cash dollars, I guess. What are you going to do with it? But like, you can't own Coke and Pepsi. You can't own Ford and Toyota. You can't own Delta and United and Southwest. You cannot have majority share on every single company like that's known. And this is really not that complicated. And I can't believe there's anyone who would argue it beyond like Larry Fink or whatever, Larry Ellison. So let's get off our capitalism grandstanding high horse and just accept, like, you got to keep it in check, dude. And I'm a capitalist. I think capitalism drives innovation, but like, I'm not going to not try to innovate because, why would I even bother? I can't own that entire subdivision in that coal mining district and rent it out for double its value to a bunch of poor people. Like, I don't think that's going to be a barrier to wanting to be successful and create things. So let's stop that. Okay. Back to just overall financial escape planning. Topic number 3. Thank you, ChatGPT. I don't really have much to say on most of this stuff. It's like a rent, car, lifestyle drag. I'm not going to talk about budgeting. I'm terrible at it. What am I going to live? A life of just complete destitution because the economy sucks? No, I live somewhat comfortably, but I don't get ahead. It seems pretty much impossible this day and age, but there's ways out. And we'll find it. We're working at it. More jobs. Where are we at? We got a lot of really stuff that I'm not really necessarily qualified to talk about. Like, I asked GPT these questions, but I'm like, dude, explain that to me in English because it doesn't make any sense. So I'm not going to explain it back to you in English. So we're going to move on to... these are kind of boring. Creative engineering. Hold up. Building things from scratch. Digital tools, music, design, automation, problem definition, design approach, implementation logic, lessons learned, building apps, DIY digital infrastructure, turning art into systems, songwriting, structure engineering, Designing tools under restriction. All right. Boring. That's all right. So I guess I'll talk about creativity. And I've given this pep talk to a number of people, and sorry if you've heard it before and you're listening right now. If you are still listening right now, bless you. I can't believe how easy it is to just go. I guess I've gotten pretty good at talking to myself. I do suck at looking at the camera, and I will. If I keep doing this, if I get like more than 5 views, maybe I will. I'll try to improve upon that, but the current setup sucks. Anyway. Let's talk about creativity. I saw a screenshot of a tweet or a Tumblr post or something not long ago, shared by someone I follow, and it was, in essence, like there was once a point in time where when you weren't working and you were like in leisure hours, had free time, you were dancing or singing or drawing or building or doing something productive, something creative, something, you're building. Now, we don't do that anymore. Of course, yeah, like hobbyists do. But we have so much distraction. And the same post, this is not an original idea. I guess the way I'm articulating it might be, but once they became a commodity, a means to an end, an income source, I only paint because I can sell them for large, high amounts and I can pay my rent. Now suddenly there is a barrier to entry. You must be qualified enough to make money off of it. Therefore, I just I'm not anywhere close to that, and why would I do that? And you always hear that. It peeves me to no end, but I don't have a creative bone in my body. Okay, well, that's fair, but neither do I. I got a femur bone, I got an ulna, a cranium, I got a mandible. I'm just kidding. No, the creative bone, it's nonsense, because creativity is relative. My sense of creativity is different from your sense of creativity. It has a broad definition, but the things that I do creatively are different than the things that you do creatively. Perhaps you fantasize, you daydream, you write stories, you gossip, right? That's creativity to a degree. It's kind of a dirty one. You paint, you sculpt, you draw, you sing, you dance. There are a number of ways to be creative. And just because you're not good at painting does not mean that you wouldn't be good at sewing or whatever else. There's a number of ways. And I will not implore that you must, it's a requirement in this life to be creative and make things. But you should be aiming for growth, skills, right? Talent. Because when you get there, for one, you start and it sucks and you're like, wow, this is way harder than I thought it would be. What a mountain I have to climb. But then you walk up this very, very gentle slope. Next thing you know, you're looking down below and you're like, holy crap, look at what I've done. And I'm never shy to adopt a new skill for that reason, because I know when I'm doing it, I don't know what my motivation is. It's probably for external validation, feed my ego, whatever it is. If there's an instrument, or I've been enjoying my Mongolian throat singing. I can now say at a party, I can Mongolian throat. Great. Cool. All fun. But it's fun to expand your arsenal of talents and ways to stand out amongst the crowd. And it just feels good. It feels good to be able to do something today that you couldn't do yesterday. And if you're not doing that in some capacity, even if it's just through knowledge and learning and understanding the world, learn a language, learn history, whatever it is, you got to have something, you have to grow, or you will stall and you will rot. It doesn't have to be the same thing as your partner, as your friends. It can be something different, but you are either building or creating or destroying or consuming, right? I think I got my order wrong. I normally say you are either building, consuming, or destroying. Sounds better, I guess. Meaning, you can be somebody who makes things. You take ideas. You take thoughts. You channel the heavens. You channel something that is spiritual. Tell me where a thought is. When I die, can you extract my thought from my brain? No, you can't. A thought is spiritual, whether you like it or not. Okay? I'm taking something, a thought, floating in space, floating in the cosmos, in the heavens, wherever this thought may exist. I take it. I take some materials here on Earth. I've taken that thought, an idea, nothing but a spiritual notion, and I've turned it into something real here on Earth. I've channeled something tangible, something real, something consumable here on Earth. And that's about as close to the heavens as you can get. That's as close to heaven as you can directly pull. You know, without divine intervention. That is your way of channeling something greater. And you can do that with a painting, you can do that with a song, you can do it with a building, with a chapel, with a sculpture, with a whatever it is. There are ways to honor, you know, the beauty of this world by taking ideas and making them real. Or you're consuming. You are taking the creations of others and you are absorbing them. And you're just you take, but you don't give back. You don't put your spiritual item into the world. And, you know, it is what it is. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to be this way, but I think I would struggle to find meaning, I guess. And that's me. You know, don't let me, you know, make you feel bad about that. You can be a consumer. You know, this would be like the collector, right? I collect baseball cards. That is my identity. I buy things. And I put them on a shelf. That's a consumer. What is your hobby? I eat. I love to go eat at restaurants. I eat and I eat and I eat. Do you cook? No. So you consume. And that sounds kind of rude the way I just said that. But that's the premise. Bring something. And it's not to say you can only do one or the other. You can do both. You can do all three, including destroy. There are the creators and there are the destroyers. Destroyers are generally unhappy with the way things are. Sometimes destruction is necessary for the greater good. Sometimes you must tear something down to build something better in its place. But oftentimes, the destroyer, the destructive person, whether it be to themselves or to others, they seek to bring people down to their low. I've done this firsthand. I've had some low times. I've known a lot of people like this. You ever known the person who's just so grumpy all the time and they're just so bitter and everything is a nightmare? I was like this today, so, you know, I'm not too critical of them, but I'm identifying the problem and something that I like to avoid about myself. But everybody is having a good time, and then there's one person in the room who's just like, everything sucks, and you're ugly, and you're fat, whatever it is. They seek to destroy. They seek to bring people down to their level because they are not yet ready to climb up. They don't want to climb up, or they're afraid to climb up, or they don't know how to climb up. So they bring people down to their low to even the playing field. If everybody is angry, then nobody's angry. If everybody's sad, nobody's sad, right? If everybody's happy, nobody's happy. So the destroyer is somebody who's unhappy with the way things are, and they either want to, level the playing field to create something new in its place, or they just want to bring a little bit of their darkness into the world so they feel less out, excluded, if that makes sense. You see this with like senseless protests where it's like, let's break windows and light buildings on fire. That is a destructive mindset. I will not say the same about, peaceful protesting and, the righteous stuff, but I'm not going to get into all that. It's too contentious. So anyway, that's my thoughts on art. I think it's important that you it doesn't have to be art, but you have to find your thing that gives you value, that gives you a connection, whatever you believe in theologically, that connects you to something greater. Because you can't tell me that you can feel exactly where your thought is in your head, and if they dissected your brain, they could point exactly, that's, I can see you right there in that spot. Those atoms there, they suggest that's his 10th birthday that he remembers. No, it doesn't work like that. This is yes, it's your brain is flesh, but your consciousness is not here. And I think that's like a relatively safe statement. And it took me a while to get there, but I think it brings greater purpose to believe that, because it does reinforce the idea that we are more. We're more than just flesh and bone here to live, die, and rot. We are here because we are created, right? We have and I'm not trying to be pushy, but we are unique in that sense. We have this consciousness beyond instinct. We can make decisions on what is right and what is wrong. We are not completely driven by animalistic nature. We have morals, we have conscience, we have rule, we have law. Therefore, we are different than animals, at least as far as we understand it. Animals behave in a very robotic, mechanical pattern, a predictable pattern. We do not. The only reason we behave in a predictable pattern beyond our basic instinct is because of the laws and governance that keep things in check. So, with that, your brain, your mind, your consciousness, your thoughts, your ideas, your beliefs, they are, yes, they exist within your physical form, but they're not physical. They are spiritual or metaphysical, whatever it may be. And I don't know how you feel about that, but in my opinion, it brings peace. It brings peace to know that we are beyond flesh and bone, our physical form. And that's kind of where we're at. I'll stay with creative engineering for a minute. Just go into music. General frustration, just still yapping about whatever comes to mind to a degree. I write songs, right? That's kind of like what I enjoy doing the most. I waited way too late to start, but better late than never. I started songwriting about 2 years ago, give or take. Shared my first one about October or so, year and a couple months ago. And it is one of the most rewarding creative endeavors that I've ever undertaken. And I'm excited to share it most of the time. And it can be disheartening when you share it and people are just like, oh, whatever. I couldn't understand the words or whatever it was. Oh, I don't listen to lyrics. I do put a lot of thought and care. And I'm not going to overdwell on this, but I think song or writing or poetry, prose, whatever it is a phenomenal way for the restless thinker to put their ideas, their stresses, their woes. You take them, you put them in a bottle. Hold on, let me make sure I'm still recording. Oh, thank God. Okay, yeah, you take them, you put them in a bottle. That's the first time I've checked since the whole time. I've had the window minimized. Yeah, you take those thoughts, you put them in a bottle, and you put them in a package that is stripped a little bit of your identity and relatable. And if it reaches one person who says, yeah, I can't believe somebody else feels this way, you've done something of value. You've brought value to the world. So long as it's constructive writing, you're not making horrible threats or anything. So just throwing that out there. I do that. And if you are still listening at this point, I'd be shocked, but I've listened to stranger things on YouTube, so whatever. We'll see how it goes. Go check out my SoundCloud or something, my TikTok, and listen to my songs. I put a lot of thought and care into the lyrics because I have messages that I like to kind of relate to myself that I need to hear, as well as connect to other people and remind them that, it's not just you who feels this way about the world. There are people like you, more than you realize. I like to soften people's negative self-perception and make them understand that their woes are not necessarily unique and things can be okay. All right, moving on. What do we got? Cognitive control and mental architecture. Hold on one sec. I'm just sending GPT a message. I say, okay, and wrap it up. Full transparency. This was pretty lazy in hindsight, but also whatever. It gave me shit to talk about. First swear, I think the whole time. That's impressive. First non-cable friendly swear. Okay, what do we got? Cognitive control and mental architecture. Theme, deconstructing thought patterns, avoidance, productivity blocks. Episode outline, identify a mental pattern, avoidance, imposter syndrome, overthinking. Evolutionary or structural origin, how it manifests in work life, tactical override mechanisms, behavioral experiment for listeners. What? Oh, yeah, okay, let me just pull up a behavioral experiment I'd get from my big book of psychiatric science. Topics, imposter, blah, blah, why intelligent people stall. Humble brag. Wink. Fear of follow-up, avoidance loops, control versus uncertainty. All right, hold on. Let me digest that. Okay. I will jump into avoidance and imposter syndrome. Right. Avoidance kind of loops back to what I was talking about earlier, regards to the whole dating scene. But then beyond that, right, beyond just the world of afraid of conflict in terms of relationships, I think the cell phone in general and a number of other things, technological comforts, have really crippled us in terms of facing problems. Especially, after the generation of helicopter parents that existed, it's now relatively common for parents to call in for their adult kids. For college, helping, call the professor and say, hey, can you review my son's homework? There's this newfound level of dependence, and a lot of it, I think, comes from the fact that it's very hard to be on your own. And I'm not really in favor of the whole okay, you're 18, go fly the coop and get lost. I think that's a really destructive sequence that's not really doing us favors. Some people more than others. But when it comes to what the hell was I even saying? I feel like I have to run that back. Sometimes I lose my train. Avoidance. All right, I'll probably just restart and then end up jumping back 3 minutes later when I realize what I was saying. Okay, yeah, helicopter parents, yada, 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 yada. It becomes increasingly difficult to address your problems if you never have to. And, my generation, most of them grew up with AOL Instant Messenger, right? You could message your crush and then completely ignore her in school the next day. But it didn't matter because you were a boss on the internet. it kind of created a shield of consequence. Because of that, we have a hard time confronting. We have a hard time addressing conflict. You know, when you come from a coddled generation, and this is not some like angry boomer lecture about it's back in my day we were tough. No, it's just like this is the consequences of raising generations in a certain way, and the peace and no fault schoolyard fights. I write about this all in my song "The Garden." Go listen; it's a good one. But yeah, there's a lack of requirement, necessity to face your problems, and with that comes like a complete shutdown. Beyond that, I would say avoidance is also, sometimes it's I won't say it's justified, but it is, because we now live in this time where you are not required, but you're almost expected, especially if you work in like a normal, like white collar industry or whatever, where you may be expected to be accessible after hours or with your social life and yada yada. Like, it's now expected that you can be reached at any time of any day, anywhere, and that's not healthy. And humans were not meant to be that way. We weren't designed that way. We were not, evolved that way. There's no like capacity for the human to be able to juggle that much. It's kind of just a downright shame that it's the norm. And if you do not participate in that constant communication system, like, you are a recluse, you're a ghost. And I'm envious of those people, but at the same time, like, I have to try to make it in society, so I have to participate. There's probably ways to balance it that I have not addressed, but it is what it is. And so, yeah, I think there's a level of avoidance that's almost, it's just reactionary. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to answer you, dude. I don't want to have this conversation right now or ever. Not relevant. Boring. I don't want to deal with it. That's why they made Instagram Reels. It's your way to communicate with people without putting in any effort. It's perfect. Just kidding. It's actually stripped communication, made it even worse. But on top of that, we have our we have our cell phones, meaning we have our entire social circle in our pocket, meaning why would I look up? I'm in a crowded place. I'm at the grocery store. Why am I looking up? See who's around me. Strike up a conversation about the gum that's on sale in the checkout line. Oh, I ain't going to do that. I got my friends already. Circle's already kind of big enough. You know what I'm saying? So with this, like this connection, it's such a cliche, but like the more connected, the more open the world is, the more closed it is. And it's just a bummer. So avoidance, I guess, is the general topic. I forget what the main category was here. Cognitive control and mental architecture. Avoidance. 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 Yeah, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's a big thing. And then next on the agenda here is imposter syndrome. Then I'll start wrapping it up because it's probably going to impressed if I have listeners. But maybe I should stop doubting myself so much, because maybe this podcast kicks ass, dude. Maybe this is the best podcast ever recorded, and I don't even know what I'm about to start, dude. Let's hey, make sure you smash that like button and hit that bell notification to never miss a notification, and subscribe, and make sure to share and forward to 10 people, or a demon girl with a backwards head will drop from your ceiling and take you in your sleep. So it's your life, dude. I don't know. Okay. All right. Imposter syndrome. Another just like sign of the times, dude. When you have social media, everybody looks like they know what's going on. When you go on LinkedIn, does anybody know what the hell they're talking about on LinkedIn? This is the stupidest social media, or whatever you call it, networking program. LinkedIn sucks. I get it. Like, it's a cool idea, but like, It's all phony, dude. I think everybody's got imposter syndrome to a degree. And the people who don't have imposter syndrome are overly cocky and confident. Like, you want to be that perfect level of like, I understand my limitations, but like also I'm confident I got this in the bag. But there will always be somebody else that you can see because we have access to so much. We have this window into everybody's lives, all these videos, these self-help, Gary V vids on the YouTube. And you just see like, wow, I'm not doing enough. I don't think I'm really qualified for this. I'm in over my head. Not true. You're just where you should be. Can you do your job? Is your job getting done? Good. Is it not getting done? Can you identify how to fix it? No? All right, do something else. Yeah, like there's clear steps you can take to fix it. No, you're right where you should be. Keep at it. You're good. But yeah, imposter syndrome's, I hear it too much. I say I have it here and there, but it's, sign of the time. Everybody posts the highlight reel on the internet, right? Nobody posts the email in which they're getting reprimanded on their LinkedIn page. Remember that. And most people who feel like they need to overly boast about their work accomplishments without, driving a greater agenda, pushing sales or something, it's probably insecurity. I don't know. What the hell do I know? I don't use LinkedIn. Anyway. Behavioral experiment for listeners. All right, close your eyes. Count down from 9. 6, 7. I don't know. It can't just put that as a bullet point and not give me an example. But I said I'm starting now. Hold on, dog barking. Dog be barking. Okay, we're good. All right. Am I going to cut any of this out? I don't know. I'm going to pause it real quick and then come right back. Okay. Like no time passed at all, right? Okay. Like no time passed at all, right? One frame skip. Like full and then my iCloud's like full and then and it fills up. If you're recording and it fills up, I can't keep just like I can't keep just nickel and diming, add $1 more worth of megabytes onto it because it's just going to fill up because I record a lot of things that never go anywhere. But when I die, like if I happen to die young or old or whatever, there's going to be a like 100-something hour marathon of my life like seen through my eyes in private, like seen through my eyes that nobody's ever seen. So I got to do something in my will with that just in case. Let's just consider this my most recent will and testament, 2/28/26. I don't really give anyone permission. To go through my. I gotta find somebody who has permission to go through my camera roll. Just don't post the embarrassing things. But I'm gonna live to be like 600, so it's fine. Let's go. I said okay, wrap it up, and then it gave me like another 45-minute pot. Come on, dude. No closing segment. No closing segment. I think I'm just gonna let GBT be my Robin Quivers this entire time. What? Dude, I hate GBT sometimes. I hate GBT sometimes. Like I'm so amazed by this technology, but it's so freaking annoying. The theme of this podcast is no closing segment. OMG, no. Give me a quick wrap. I should just be coming up with this off the cuff at this point, but now I'm committed to the bit. Oh my god! For the show, I'm recording. I'm like an hour in, and audience is listening to our convo. Sorry, it's so slow. I'll speed that up maybe. All right, I think that's a solid place to land this. We covered systems. Ugh. This podcast wasn't just a educational brief. It was a downright life-changing experience. Shut up.
Okay.
Okay, so
I don't think it really gets it. I meant like a new
I don't think it really gets it. I meant like a new segment, but I should have articulated, but it's hard to multitask this.
because I want to keep it moving live. And
Because I want to keep it moving live and I don't want to cut much. But that's about time where I wrap it up. I don't really know where I'm going with this. I really had a fun time doing it. And I'd rather it not be kept in secret. So by the time you're watching it, maybe it'll be out there. Probably put it on YouTube and then just keep it a secret everywhere else. Because God forbid my family members watch it. What are you talking about?
It'll inevitably happen. It is what it is.
It'll inevitably happen. It is what it is. I'm having fun. I hope you enjoyed hanging out and listening to me yap for however long that was.
Next time it's a little more structured.
Hopefully next time it's a little more structured. I don't really have a central theme here. I'm just going to kind of talk about whatever is pressing on my mind. I don't
really like to push away
people based on what they believe. I have my belief system, and I keep that generally private within my own local community. But I am open to beliefs and opposition. And if you feel differently about something, I think that's great. I just hope that you can articulate yourself. But I don't ever want to exclude somebody from my conversation because of their beliefs
and how they differ from mine.
And how they differ from mine. You will not be unwelcome in my circle. However,
if you resort to
personal insults and attacks and generalizations
or
out of context assumptions, that is a disingenuous debate strategy, dialogue. So save it. If I get anyone worked up in the comments here, I know this is a pretty big pretty big debut. So
generally, I enjoyed.
Yeah, that's generally it. I enjoy doing this, and I hope if anyone is still here, you come back for the next one, and maybe we can.
Such a dry throat.
Excuse me, such a dry throat.
And then we can.
I think I'm getting sick. And then we can consolidate. And let me know what did and didn't work about this, so I can kind of fine tune it. Because episode 1's kind of a wash anyway. This will be on my my Patreon page in a couple years' time.
Pay $10 to get access.
Pay $10 a month to get access to archived episodes. Episode 001.
All right.
All right.
God bless you all.
God bless you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spending your morning, evening, afternoon, or night commute wherever with me.
Thank you for joining the conversation.
And thank you for joining the conversation.
Feel free to chime in.
Holla at you, boy.
Beautiful.
And have a beautiful morning.
Afternoon, evening, or night.
Afternoon, evening, or night. Whatever time it is where you are.
Whew.